What if everything you've been told is a lie? What if the world as you know it is controlled by unseen forces shaping history, manipulating reality? For decades, a secret group known as the Silent Hand has been pulling the strings from the shadows. But the truth is emerging. Are you ready to uncover what they don't want you to know? The awakening has begun. Welcome to Hidden in the Shadows. The truth is out there, and the Silent Hand's grip on reality is slipping. The world is waking up, but it needs your help. Will you stand with the resistance and fight for a future where truth and freedom reign? Or will you remain in the shadows, controlled by a power you never knew existed? The battle for reality has just begun. It's time to choose your side. Are you ready to uncover the secrets? Will you help rewrite history? The choice is yours. Take the first step towards the truth today. The awakening needs you. Let's start. In the heart of an ordinary city, tucked away among towering skyscrapers and bustling streets, there was a secret so monumental that it had been kept hidden from the world for decades. The year was 2025, and the world had grown accustomed to its routines. Technology advanced, governments shifted power, and corporations thrived. However, deep within the shadows, a small group of individuals was pulling the strings of global events, manipulating not just the course of history, but the very fabric of reality itself. They were known as the Silent Hand. It all began in the early 1950s, when a group of intellectuals and government officials met under the guise of an academic conference. They were scientists, historians, and economists, but their true purpose was far more nefarious. As they gathered in the dimly lit rooms of a private estate in Washington, D.C., they discussed the rapidly changing world and the potential for controlling its future. The Cold War was in full swing, and while the world's attention was focused on the clash between East and West, this secret group saw an opportunity to control the narrative in ways no one could imagine. The Silent Hand, as they would come to call themselves, understood that the greatest form of control was not through brute force or military might, but through the control of information. They realized that the manipulation of knowledge was a far more powerful weapon. If they could control the flow of information, they could shape public opinion, influence policy, and direct the course of history in their favor. Their first major achievement came with the creation of the Global Information Network, a secretive organization that controlled much of the world's media and communications. Through a combination of strategic ownership, covert partnerships, and the manipulation of technological advancements, they began to influence everything from news broadcasts to academic research. The media, once a platform for truth, was now a tool for propaganda, designed to shape the minds of the masses according to the Silent Hand's will. As the years passed, their influence grew, and they infiltrated governments, corporations, and even the highest echelons of academia. By the 1980s, they had established a network of operatives who worked tirelessly to ensure that their plans remained unchallenged. The Silent Hand understood the power of secrecy and always operated in the shadows, ensuring that any attempt to expose their activities would be swiftly silenced. One of their most significant achievements was the introduction of a global surveillance system. In the guise of national security, they pushed for the widespread adoption of surveillance technologies, from CCTV cameras to advanced data tracking systems. This allowed them to monitor the population's every move, tracking not only physical locations but also digital footprints. The Silent Hand could now influence everything from political elections to consumer behavior, all while maintaining the illusion of freedom. But they did not stop there. The Silent Hand's true genius lay in their ability to manipulate the very fabric of reality itself. Using a combination of advanced psychological techniques, mind control methods, and cutting-edge technology, they began to experiment with ways to alter perceptions and beliefs on a mass scale. Their goal was not just to control the flow of information, but to change how people saw the world. By the early 2000s, they had perfected a technology known only to a select few as Project Mirage. This system allowed them to implant false memories into the minds of individuals, creating a parallel reality that seemed just as real as the truth. They could make entire populations believe in things that never happened, alter historical events, and even change the collective perception of what was real. The world, unaware of the Silent Hand's manipulations, continued to follow the path laid before it. Wars were fought, economies fluctuated, and governments rose and fell, all under the silent guidance of this shadowy group. But even as they pulled the strings from behind the scenes, they knew that their control was fragile. There were always those who sought to uncover the truth, and over time, a small but determined resistance began to form. This resistance, known as the Awakening, consisted of individuals who had begun to see through the illusions created by the Silent Hand. Some were former members of the Silent Hand itself, who had grown disillusioned with the group's methods. Others were everyday citizens who had stumbled upon pieces of information that didn't quite add up. But regardless of their background, they were united in their desire to expose the truth. The Awakening's leader, a man known only as the Seer, had once been a prominent figure within the Silent Hand. A brilliant mind with an uncanny ability to see through deception, he had once been tasked with overseeing Project Mirage. However, as he delved deeper into the project, he began to realize the full extent of the Silent Hand's control over the world. The more he learned, the more horrified he became by the power they wielded. Eventually, he could no longer ignore the truth, and he fled the Silent Hand, vowing to expose their secrets to the world. The Seer spent years gathering a team of like-minded individuals, each with a unique skill set, to uncover the Silent Hand's operations. They dug into the deepest corners of the internet, infiltrated corporate and governmental organizations, and pieced together the fragmented evidence of the Silent Hand's existence. But every time they got close to uncovering something significant, they were met with opposition. Those who attempted to reveal the truth were silenced, sometimes with threats, sometimes with more extreme measures. One fateful day, the Seer and his team made a breakthrough. They discovered a hidden server farm buried deep beneath the earth in an undisclosed location, where the Silent Hand had been conducting their most secret experiments. It was here that they found the true power of Project Mirage. The server farm housed an artificial intelligence system so advanced that it could manipulate not just individual memories, but entire populations. With this system, the Silent Hand had the power to rewrite history itself, creating a new reality at will. With this knowledge in hand, the Seer made the decision to expose everything to the world. He knew that doing so would be dangerous, perhaps even fatal, but the truth had to be revealed. Using the very technology created by the Silent Hand, he transmitted the information across every communication platform in the world, bypassing the group's censorship and control. The message was simple. The Silent Hand exists. They control your reality. Your history has been rewritten. At first, the world was in disbelief. It seemed too fantastical, too unbelievable to be true. But as more and more evidence surfaced, people began to wake up to the reality of their situation. Protests erupted across the globe as citizens demanded answers. Governments scrambled to respond, but it was clear that they were just as much under the Silent Hand's control as the rest of society. In the midst of the chaos, the Silent Hand fought back. Their operatives launched cyber attacks, silencing key figures in the resistance and manipulating the media to spin a narrative that portrayed the Awakening as a fringe conspiracy. But despite their efforts, the truth had been planted in the minds of millions. People began to question everything they had been told, their governments, their media, their very history. The world was changing, and the Silent Hand's grip on reality was beginning to slip. As the days turned into weeks, the resistance gained strength. Whistleblowers from within the Silent Hand came forward, providing crucial information that exposed the group's inner workings. Governments, once puppets of the Silent Hand, began to fracture as leaders realized that their power was based on a lie. But the battle was far from over. The Silent Hand was powerful, and they would not give up their control easily. They would do anything to maintain the illusion, even if it meant plunging the world into chaos. But the truth, once exposed, could never be fully suppressed. And so, the war for reality began, one that would determine whether humanity would continue to live under the control of the Silent Hand or break free to create a new world, built on truth, transparency, and freedom. In the end, only time would tell who would emerge victorious from the shadows.